Most people walk past buildings without ever thinking about the brains behind it. In today's video, we are going to be having Tracy, who is a civil engineering student in NABI year 1.
I thought civil engineering just put out build houses. Then now
She's going to share her practical experience in the field.
the construction from like the foundation. So from that day I learned many things. Then we setting out how
And equally what she learned in school.
I was here contemplating between structural engineering and
So stay tuned. Welcome, Engineer Tracy.
thank you very much.
Oh. It's okay, feel free. Okay, I learned you are a civil engineering student in NAPI. You have been on your first year, it means your first year is done, and currently on your internship. Yeah. I want to ask you this question. Which background are you coming from? Is it from the technical background or from the grammar background?
From grammar background.
Okay. And what is one thing that made you to think that civil engineering is the department I have to pursue?
Oh, okay. From since I was 4, when you used to ask her what do you want to be in future, me will say doctor. It's not like I don't want to see be the doctor or anything, but once I was growing up, I was seeing how my community is. And what I noticed we can, especially in here in Berlin, that our roads are really terrible compared to like the Europe, the country. How can I say the US and all those other countries?
Okay, yeah, the West.
The countries that roads very developed, even some of these African countries, even in Yaoundé, that's so these are the roads are really good, but at some other facts are the roads are really terrible and causing wheel accidents and all of that. So I thought of it that getting civil engineering is the family responsible for all these constructions. Maybe I can impact change in my community.
Okay, you saw a problem, but your community actually suffers from roads. They actually suffer from infrastructure in general. So that's what set you up for this journey. Okay. Wow, that's a great start. That's a great thought. Okay, why is school? What is one thing you have learned in school that has changed your mind? When you were thinking that okay, it's for civil engineering, and when you went to school, you discovered that maybe there was a little bit of deviation. What is that one thing?
As of now, like most of my courses are not really that hard because many of being that subject that I also did. So as of now, I cannot say I really, but from research, from what I'm seeing, like I thought that civil engineering just put out build houses, but now I know that they do construction of roads, houses, even dams, like even reservoirs, and that it's very broad as of what I knew about civil engineering. So as of now, that's what.
Okay, it has been known that so many students who go into civil engineering always resolve at the end, especially the females, to move into architecture. So what is your view? When you went to civil engineering, it's broad, yes. In civil engineering, we have structural aspects, we have geotechnics. So when you went into that, you have done your internship and you almost be done basically. And so when you are looking at civil engineering now, what are you thinking that you focus on as a student?
I was here contemplating between structural engineering and syllabus.
Okay, it's kind of like different from others because many others, when they get to school and they start using AutoCAD, ArchiCAD, the first thing they think about is directly to move to architecture because they see nice buildings. And it's surprising that you are rather looking at your technical structure. Female doing structure is really rare. I think it's really rare. Okay. If you're choosing structures, structures is all about forces, all about framework, it's all about hypothesis. It means you have to develop a conceptual mindset. Yeah. So what really made you to choose structures? Because it's really, I really want to understand why will you leave architecture, why in civil engineering school to choose structures or geotechnics within, because that's a specialization you have to do at the end as a civil engineer. Yeah. So what is tilting me towards structure or what is tilting towards geotechnics?
Actually, that 2 reasons. The first is I'm actually like going through a videos about the education. So from there, I know I had like all these jobs that girls are running from. I myself, if I can do them, I can be able to show an example to other girls that they should not shy away from them. So that's why I choose structural engineering, because many people are always like shying away from that. And secondly, from research showing that structural engineers spend more than, I cannot see from really research, but from what I've heard, like they earn more than, let me say, architecture. So
Yeah. So many people know architecture is about fancy renders. That's kind of stuff. Yeah. So many people they don't even learn architecture core. Most architectural students that I know, during the beginning of their career, is always about fancy renders. So first you are doing fancy rendering, and that's cool. Coming on internship, you had set goals. Yeah. So after the internship, you're almost done your internship. So you should have been thinking of how you're going to finish this if it meets up your objectives, the initial objectives you set. So what can you give us a summary of your internship between the objectives that you set and what you finally achieved?
okay, from the one, my objections were to be able to design structural side and all, but I cannot really say 100% of it, but let me see here, like 95%. I'm getting there. It's not really easy to, but learning from our teachers have been very helpful. They have been teaching us each and every element for the ArchCAD software. And kind of for there, I can say I've really learned a lot, even more than my objectives. But internship has really good.
Oh, that's great. So, if there is one thing that should have been engaged for that, just one thing.
Okay, let me say one thing that stood out, like from the gear, the first that went like for stretching more. Like I've never been to any place where we have to start the construction from like the foundation. So from that day, and then many things, learn the setting out, how we map out the place.
Okay, so one thing that stood out was you're setting out. Okay, that's cool. It's fine. When I was on internship, I didn't even have for my year one. The only thing that stood out was the pain of doing civil engineering. Like I remember my boss told us to carry soil behind a retaining wall, and I did that for almost like a month. And I was asking what is civil engineering, and he was like, "Do it." And he was just trying to see who I am, and I finally signed into him, and he trained me to the engineer I am today. So doesn't necessarily need to be something big. It can be just learning AutoCAD or maybe a particular skill in AutoCAD. You're not sweet in maybe cutting, or you're not sweet in any conception of residential buildings. So thank you so much, Tracy, for accepting to hear it us on our podcast. So I want to ask you a question. This one you are going to tell your audience on the camera, right? Okay. What you're going to tell your audience is, should they do the test? And if yes, how long should they do it while they're in year one?
What I'll say is internship is a very good aspect of your school life, because it's mostly about practical. And once you're missing the practical life of your school, is you're missing a lot on getting jobs in the future, because like they also have a certificate, but once the employer, you cannot do what the company wants you to do, they can easily fire you or something might happen. So internships are really good, and especially if like if a time that is school actually, if you have more than that time experience with the internship, it's really good, and it really helps. It will help help you stand out amongst your peers. Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. It was nice having Tracy here on our podcast, and she has told you what she learned on her internship. In fact, she has given you what she's thinking as a year one student in school. So, guys, if you know what to do, just go to the subscribe button and subscribe to get more of this.